these games have a lot of emotion. I mean, you as dumb as this chick is that you're guiding around, you spend so much time with her, you form a bond with her to the point where you feel emotionally troubled when she's in danger, or near the end of the game when you think you've lost her. I mean, it really pulls you in.
I've always much preferred Shadow of the Colossus because Shadow of the Colossus has a much more basic layout. So, this kid, once again, this is kind of like a teenager.
Oh, so this is a man, baby.
That is no man.
He's 16 years old. I'm sorry. He's got like his little emo haircut and everything. Yeah.
In some countries, that would be a man. Come on now.
Okay. and his girlfriend is dead, and there's a place where you can go to bring your girlfriend back to life, but first you got to kill a bunch of gigantic rock guys.
They're monsters, like they're like the size of mountains and
the
stuff.
Colossus.
The Colossi, or the Colossi.
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 I mean, all Shadow of the Colossus breaks down into is two parts. You've got getting to the Colossus and killing the Colossus, and they're both very kind of exploratory. A lot of times the route that you're supposed to take through the environment, because all you get is your sword kind of pointing you in the general direction. You don't have a map that has a little breadcrumb trail that you follow there, so you just kind of have to figure out how to get through the environment and get to the Colossi, and then once you're at them, you have to figure out how to crawl up them, how to trick them into doing stuff or get around them or whatever, and then you stab them and they're really horribly poorly thought out glowing weak points they all seem to have right on top of their head, or on the bottom of their foot, and then every time you beat them you go back and do it all over again. And it sounds like a kind of a boring premise, but it's just a really, really thrilling game because it's just you and your horse, who incidentally I think that the protagonist of Shadow of the Colossus and his horse have a much better relationship than that dude and that chick in ICO.
Oh no, I definitely agree. Like, there's no real dialogue in Shadow of the Colossus, but it's amazing how emotionally evocative I think this game is, because every time I killed a Colossus, I felt bad for doing it. Like, I wasn't killing a monster, I was killing an animal for my own selfish needs, which was just to bring, your dead girlfriend back to life. Like, they weren't doing anything. Like, in this landscape, there's no people there. And they're just chilling out, doing their own thing, and then you shank them, pretty much.
No, it's a very lonely landscape that you're going through. I mean, like, again, the feeling of isolation. And when you get to these colossi, see, that's a good point that you make, Nick, because for some reason, before you even know why, like, I don't want to ruin too much, but there's things that happen in the game which make you feel kind of like something's wrong every time you kill one of these giants. And
could it be the glowing black snakes that jump into your body every time you kill one, causing you to keel over in pain and misery and become more and more decrepit and messed up?
But you don't know. You're thinking like this is. It could be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing. You don't know. But there is some reason that from the first giant that you meet, you think to yourself, like, you're right, Nick. This dude just like you start to think, man, this guy was just minding his own business, just sitting out here in the desert, just chilling out, and I'm coming out of nowhere, and I'm climbing his ass like a pest, like a fly or something. He's trying to swat me off, and I get to the top of him, and I stick a sword in his head and kill him. And but the first time you do that, you're like, was that right? Did I do something bad? Did I do that?
Yeah, and it doesn't get easier. Like, you think, like, okay, the next time it will be easier. It doesn't. You feel worse and worse and worse for doing it. And
I think I may be like an emotionally stunted human being, because every time I kill one of those Colossi, I was like, yeah, suck it, giant. Shank your dumb ass.
Okay, well, you are a freak of nature then. For a game that has no dialogue whatsoever, apart from maybe jibby jibby, like the bollocks that the gods talk or whatever, it's wonderfully simplistic and beautiful, I think, the way how this game has been constructed, to make you feel that much emotional attachment to your horse and to the creatures that you're essentially killing.
Yeah, and if you want to know, like, okay, I know about these games. You're telling me everything I know. What's the big deal? Well, if you haven't played it in HD, now, I haven't really played ICO before, but having played Shadow of the Colossus before, playing what little bit I did on my HD screen, which, is big compared to what I played it on years ago before, that whole feeling of, because these giants, they range in design. I mean, some of them are actually small. I mean, some of them are the size of like a horse, and you have to hop onto them when they're jumping around wildly and puncture that weak spot on them to kill them. But most of them are just towering above you, and some of them are like skyscrapers. And when you start to climb these creatures, watching it on an HD TV, I mean, your stomach churns. You feel like you could fall at any moment. If you fall, the fall is going to kill you. I mean, it's like being on a roller coaster or something. It's thrilling. And if you play ICO on a big HD television, just makes the castle structure seem that much more towering above you also. I mean, it's especially when you get to elements where, like near the end of ICO, I mean, you get to a very industrial level where it's rainy, it's cold, there's structures that are in decay that just go high above you. And, you know, playing that in HD is beautiful, man. It's beautiful and it's intimidating. And it just adds overall to like the whole intimidating feel of the game. I mean, the game is $40, man. Guys, don't be cheap. Just go buy the fucking game. You know what I mean?
I think when it comes to Shadow of the Colossus, the thing that I wanted most out of this, I would have settled for just straight up PS2 port as long as they fix the frame rate. Because the original Shadow of the Colossus released on the PlayStation 2, they were really starting to push the edge of the hardware of the PS2, and that game was choppy. Like, you know, especially a lot of times when you're rotating around in the environment, you're moving the camera around, and the frame rate would just start to chop. And that was the one thing that I wanted to see fixed here, and I'm glad to say that they did.
They did.
Both games run smooth as silk and are, you know, just really, really a joy to play. They didn't really do a whole hell of a lot of work on the textures. I mean, you can still see kind of you can kind of see the rough edges and the textures, but the thing is that both these games were made so well originally that they don't look like PS2 games. They look
I mean, there's still like textures like fur and hair that it looks like plastic. I mean, it looks like Lego hair or pieces of paper or something. So they just couldn't, there's some things that they just couldn't fix. But I mean, it is a pretty looking game. And I tell you something, man. My game was messed up. I don't know what happened with it. Like they just kept stopping on me every few hours that I played. There was one time I just got through beating a long puzzle. And I went to the next room. The screen went black and didn't come back. And I don't know if that happened with me. The point why that happened with me, but the point I'm getting to is that I was going to play more Shadow of the Colossus because that's my favorite of the two. Also, I mean, I love that game. But when I want to play it in the HD version, on my way to killing my first giant, I got video of this I'm going to put up. Everything was cool. The game was started out great. I was getting to the story again. You know, the voice told me to go kill the first giant. I was like, you goddamn right I will. And I started riding out there on the plane, and it got to a point my horse leaped in the air and just froze. and it was some Matrix shit going on with that because like the hair was still blowing, the cloth was still blowing. I think the horse's tail was still blowing in the wind, and I could hear birds and shit. And I could see the environment around me still kind of going on, but my horse just would not move. And I like you know when you can control the camera. I spun around that horse, and that was really like some bullet time Matrix shit right there. You know, my horse had done some Keanu Reeves type shit, and you
start playing that Matrix techno music in the background.
It sounds kind of like the end of a bad '80s movie was like, "We've did it, yay!" And the characters jump up and they freeze.
Yeah, but before it even got started, that was the end of the movie. It's like da 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 da. You know, it's like
let's kill the Colossus. Yeah,
yeah. I just froze. I got the video of it. I might put it up with this review because I can't believe this shit right here. Damn. And so I couldn't play a whole lot of Shadow of the Colossus, but I watched some of the gameplay, and it looks beautiful on HD, man. I mean, look, if you're a fan of these games, you're probably wondering, well, bottom line, is it worth it to go out and get these games again? And yeah, at $40, yes, the games look great. You really haven't experienced the game that much until you played it in HD. It really, those games alone last the power of time. I mean, let's last the test of time, and just having them repackaged and with a better gloss on them is just a bonus. So yeah, go ahead and get them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely the sort of thing that you want to have, and yeah, I can't say any more than you already have. You already said it all. God damn it, go buy it. It's awesome.
Wait, hold on a second. You're just giving it a full price, Corey. That's it. I mean, like the amount of times that you've referenced this game and talked about it. I would have thought you would give it a way higher rating.
Okay, better than sex.
There we go.
Better than
You never gave Training Day a better than sex, and I fucking know that you're obsessed with that movie. So yeah,
I didn't even have better than sex as a rating back when Training Day came out. I wasn't even doing this shit.
Would you have had it? Would you have given it though?
Yes, I would have. Okay,
there we go. So
it makes you feel any better. I am rubbing the box to this game on my crotch right now. Is how much I love it. So yes, better than sex. Better
really?
Sex.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh man. All right. I'll give it a full on buy, but I wouldn't go higher than that. I mean, they didn't do any work on the textures. The game is pretty much exactly the same as PlayStation 2. So,
you know what? Have you tried having sex with it?
Have I stuck my junk in the ICO and Shadow of the Colossus CD?
Yes.
No.
And you should try it, and don't knock it until you do.
Worth it. It really is. Yeah.
Hola, you do.